Well, let me tell you something, brother. It's the R&B Show. Can you dig it? And now, here's Ricardo and Brett.
You know, it's different. Wow. It's different now. I can't hear the music, the swanky music that comes on.
It sounds
before.
really good still.
I'm sure it sounds pretty good because you're engineering everything. You're a wizard back there. But welcome to the R&B Show. Hold on now, Brett. Episode number 25. Yeah. Number 25, the only podcast dedicated to high school sports in the Fox Valley. I'm your co-host, Ricardo Arguello. Sitting alongside with me is Brett Christopherson, both of USA Today Network Wisconsin. And doing the Hulk Hogan. Is that what you were doing?
That was Hulk.
Okay, either that or Thunder Lips.
And then there was Ed McMahon in there as well.
Yeah.
So a whole bunch of...
So I should do that, open every week with something different.
You're a treasure trove of 80s material there, my friend. That's Rosie. That's Jim Rosen.
Well, I hear it all in our drives for our Kids in Crisis streams now. Rosie brings it all out.
That's right.
And we solve world's problems, too, at the same time.
We do.
We're going to Manitowoc tonight.
Yeah. I wonder what we're going to solve tonight.
You're very versatile.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
The two of yous. You're very versatile.
It's not just sports for us, Ricardo.
No, it isn't. No. And I'm glad you guys are on board with me here as, again, number 25 of the R&B Show.
Running a little late.
We had some technical issues, but I think our guy over there, Rosie, again, he was able to get on the horn and call up live stream folks and get it all situated, right, my friend?
Yes.
It wasn't our fault either.
It was not our fault.
It rarely is, too.
It rarely is our fault. We're usually ready to go, but this was a Facebook thing. They updated their app, and they don't tell anybody. So when that happens, we don't get Facebook. But luckily, while I was on the phone, they fixed it. So here we are.
And now we got these mics here. We don't have the headsets today. I'm a little out of sorts. Man, it's just kind of a weird day.
Yeah.
We got to go to Manitowoc here in a few hours, and
it is crazy.
what are we gonna do? Huh? I'm a routine guy. I like to be entrenched in my routines, and when I'm a little out of it, I get a little ornery.
Exactly. Ornery is one way to describe it. Yeah, and, there's other ways too, but we can't do that on a family show or family podcast, I should say.
Yeah, we could talk some prep sports.
We will do that. And let me run down what we have on the docket here. Coming up, WI State Wrestling, kind of give a review of what happened this past weekend of the individual state tournament in Madison. And then we're going to move on to the boys' postseason preview. I made my state picks. I want to really hear what Brett and Rosie think about the teams I've picked, and maybe if they have something to add to that. Hopefully they do. Then we switch over to the girls' side of basketball, the sectional level. We have a couple interesting matchups coming up that from our area. Now, you guys are heading over to, is it Menasha you guys are heading to?
Tomorrow night, yeah.
Yeah, to do Amherst and Wrightstown. Interesting matchup of top three teams in the Division III field. So we'll get your thoughts on that, too. I'm heading over to over to Ashwaubenon, I should say, for Appleton North, Appleton East, a big city rivalry that's going at the sectional semifinal level up there in Ashwaubenon. And then we'll wrap up a little bit, just anything else that maybe is on other people's minds. Brett, I know you have some maybe a thing or two to bring up as well. But let's get started, if you don't mind, guys. Let's go. And let me do this. WI State Wrestling. Now, remember last week, Brett, I was sitting here and I was saying I expected, 7 guys to reach the finals. We had 8. 8, so I was wrong.
You were busy.
I was a busy guy. We had 8 guys reach the finals. I was thrilled. And then I thought we would have 5 champs, and we ended up having 4, though I thought Zach Lee, and more on this in a little bit, I thought Zach Lee was robbed of his title at 160 in Division I. More on that in a minute. But so I was actually pretty close on my predictions. I was actually very happy to find that I was close on my predictions because our wrestling, the wrestling in our area, I believe, is some of the best in the state, and given its size as well. So kudos to all our champs. Here are our 4 champs, by the way. Eric Barnett from Hortonville, Division I, 113. Brett, number 3 ranked wrestler in the nation. He won at Division I, 113. Evan Vosters from Freedom, our friend. He's been on our show. Actually, both him and Eric have been on our show. 160 in Division II. And then Bo Yeneman, he was on here last week for the roundtable. From Nina, he won at 195 and finished undefeated, by the way, did Bo, as did Eric Barnett. And then Keaton Cleaver, the big guy from Kaukauna, also a friend of the show. He won at 285 in Division I. Brett, I mean, that's 4 legit state champs, and then in Barnett and Cleaver's case, 2-time champs. So nice showing from our area guys down there and Madison. I know you were paying attention too, weren't you, Brett?
Oh,
what was
absolutely.
going down?
I was. I know we had the real-time results that Jordan Schelling took care of. Did a great job of keeping everybody everybody apprised of who was doing what. I don't know, folks out there maybe listening or even watching, kind of describe the atmosphere of the Kohl Center, though, especially Championship Saturday. It's a pretty cool event, isn't it?
Brett, you and I have been to many, many state events, many high-profile state events. In terms of basketball, at least for sure, we've been able to watch outstanding matchups between top teams. And I say this with all due respect to all those other championship matches, from state track to baseball to basketball to hockey, all that stuff, to Camp Randall and football. Championship Saturday, individual state tournament, when they bring out the champions for the Champions March with the Olympic music playing, it raises the hair on the arms and on the neck. It's an incredible I guess scene. I really can't describe it. You have to go down there and check it out. First off, the Kohl Center was packed, 17,000 people there. And then, they have the three divisions concurrently performing in those championship matches. The roar of the crowd when there's a big, a takedown or a pin or something like that. You got to experience it one time. If you're a sports fan, please head down to the Kohl Center during those individual state championships on that Saturday of the individual state tournament, because you will experience something that you won't forget. It is an amazing thing to watch. And I will have to add this, though. Unfortunately for my friend Zach Lee, he's a friend of the show.
What happened there?
Here's what happened. Unfortunately, he should have been our fifth. He should have been our fifth state champion at D1. He was at 160 or 152. I'm sorry. He was leading 2-0 to Otto, this Arrowhead wrestler, Jake Otto, I want to say, heading into the final period. With officials and everything's kind of subjective a little bit, Brett. They felt he was stalling a little bit because he had Otto, kind of collapsed or whatever. He was behind him trying to throw him. Otto very, very smartly kind of wrapped his legs around one of the back legs of Lee to prevent him from throwing it, but they were immovable, basically. Both of them were kind of stuck in position. The officials, unfortunately, felt that Zach wasn't doing enough to throw him and got him 2 points for stalling. Mm-hmm. That had a domino effect, because then it was tied, and then literally in the final seconds, Otto got that 1 point reverse to get out of Lee's hold and got the win.
1 point escape.
1 point escape, right.
Yep.
I cannot tell you how devastating that is, because a couple years earlier, Robert Lee lost kind of like a similar a call from the official where he had the kid down on a near fall, but he didn't get called for the 2 point. You know what I mean? And he ended up losing that match, and he was a 3-time state champ. Mm-hmm. So he could have been a 4-time state champ. Very, very rare. But unfortunately for Zach Lee, and to add insult to injury, Brett, the Otto kid did the little breaking, I guess, what would you call it, a gesture, I guess, to the back of his neck, which really drew boos from the crowd. One thing I got to give wrestling folks, they understand that sport, and they don't like when kids are arrogant or cocky, I guess, in a way, and they roundly booed him 3 times during that whole kind of scenario there, and also when they announced the champions later in the evening. So unfortunate for Zach Lee. He's such a good kid too. We had him on the show, very entertaining guy, and unfortunately had to end up that way. But you know what? That's wrestling. That's wrestling. It happens sometimes, and not everything goes the way you want it. And the great thing for Zach Lee and the Kaukauna wrestling team is they have a chance to win their 5th consecutive state championship this weekend at team state wrestling. So best of luck to them as they try to do that. But yeah, that was the wrestling. It was good and bad, Brett. And that was, I guess, that Lee whole thing was kind of the most the thing that stuck out in my mind, just because of the way it kind of ended there.
That's too bad, but still a heck of a season.
No,
to
very
get
outstanding.
To that position.
Yeah.
Hopefully, kids can understand that whatever the sport they're in, to even get as far as they do, and to be at this at state level is a heck of an accomplishment. But that Lee obviously was gunning for that state title, so you feel bad for him. But congratulations to those other individual state champs. And Ricardo, you're not done though with your wrestling duties. You will be going back down to Madison this week. It's time for the team state tournament, and what's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen there? I know Kaukauna is going for its 5th straight state championship, but they have a tough road.
They do have a tough road. Talking with Coach Machik and Keaton Cleaver, I think they both admit that this run will be a little different than maybe in the years past. They may face Stoughton, who was one of the top teams in the state in the semifinal round. Now, they have met them in the championship round the last 2 years and been able to get wins there.
Close
very close
matches
matches.
Yeah.
Very close matches. So, they're of course they're obviously concerned that they're going to try to pop on through to Saturday's finals, but that's a tall order. So we'll see if they're able to. If Kaukauna can get past that semifinal match, I think they're in good position to maybe claim that 5th state championship, but it's going to be tough for them to do. It's going to be interesting to watch. I'm heading down there Friday, so follow me on Twitter at PC Ricardo, and I'll try to update you as much as I can. They have the quarterfinals match and the semifinals match, so I'll also be covering Marshfield for the group as well. So we'll see but they have to wrestle Stoughton. So that's a tough matchup for Marshfield, unfortunately. So and Kaukauna has Mukwonago, so. Just a couple things to kind of watch out there as we head into Team State.
I feel like Stoughton right now is where Kaukauna was.
Yes.
Well, before this run started, they're trying to break through, and they're on the cusp. And once it happens, not to say they're going to peel off 4 or 5 straight state titles, but that's where Kaukauna was. Just couldn't get to that state championship match or finish it off. And then, of course, once it happened, now you see what the Ghosts have done the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, Brett, that's a great observation because they always were kind of the bridesmaids and never the brides. But now look at them; they're the platinum program in wrestling. Rosie, you have something, my friend?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Let's switch. Go over from wrestling. Sorry,
You caught him off guard.
What? Let's go from wrestling over to hoops and the boys' postseason preview. I made my state picks. Brett, am I a homer? Do you think I'm a homer because I picked?
No, because I'd probably pick the same thing.
Well, if you didn't know, if you haven't read it, the area teams that I have going and winning state titles are Oshkosh North, Kaukauna, and Xavier from our area. D1, D2, D3. Yeah, and it's very difficult to argue because both are number 1 ranked teams in their division. I'm not really going on a limb here by picking those 3 teams, Brett. But I guess I did in my postseason kind of like preview. I guess I did say, Oshkosh North. Don't forget, Kimberly's right there. Kimberly's right there, possible sectional final matchup for them. As for Kaukauna, they have to possibly play Cedarburg in the sectional final. Xavier, I don't want to say the road is a little bit easier, but it kind of is, I guess, in relation when you see what Oshkosh North and Kaukauna have to go through.
I agree. I think of those 3, I feel most confident about saying Xavier's going to win the state championship, yes. Go for the repeat in the 4th straight state finals appearance for Hunter Plowman and that group and Matt Klarner. So
that's amazing.
But, I know a lot of folks think very highly of Brown Deer, and there's some interesting potential matchups coming up. Maybe a Xavier Freedom. Xavier Little Chute, Xavier Wrightstown. Who knows what's going to happen. And then I know there's some good stuff on that other side. Valders is very good. I've heard some good things about New Holstein. But still, confidence-wise, I feel like, nobody's really shown the ability to slow down a Xavier team that's averaging, 93 points per game.
Yeah.
Incredible offensive machine that they have over there. Oshkosh North would have to, get through. We're thinking probably Kimberly in the sectional championship over in Marshall. We've been talking about that one here on the podcast a number of weeks. And that's not a gimme because those regular season battles have been very close. And don't forget there's that Sun Prairie team. I'm hearing a lot of good things.
I am too.
With that, with their top recruit, is it Jaden Johnson?
Yes,
Jalen Johnson. I know he's a very highly touted sophomore right now, getting some big looks. I think Sun Prairie might be ranked number 2 in the state. Mm-hmm. So don't sleep on those guys either. Very good squad. And then on D2, like you said, Kaukauna and Cedarburg. Those 2 teams have been heavyweight battles the last 2 seasons in the sectional finals, I believe, and looking like that could be the case. But then could be some tough matchups for the Ghosts as they get to Madison as well, if they can punch that ticket and make it to the Kohl Center.
Brett, let me get your thoughts on this real quick. You look at the Division I field and the Division II field. Here's who I have making the Final Four. For Division I, I have Oshkosh North over Bayport, Brookfield East over Sun Prairie. Those are the 4 teams. Okay. Here are the Division II Final Four. Kaukauna over Milwaukee, Washington. Yeah. Monona Grove over La Crosse Central.
Monona Grove is very good.
Now, in my opinion, you could legit say that the Division II Final Four is on par with Division I or possibly even surpasses it. Your thoughts?
I think very deep. Monona Grove, I know, has that big, very, very tough team. And then Milwaukee, or the other one.
La Crosse Central is the defending state champs.
Coming back after Kobe King graduated, obviously an established program. I think it's a toss-up. It's hard to say. I mean,
because the top teams, Kaukauna and Oshkosh North, split this year.
They did, and it's tough, though, in that D2 field to, like you say, Jordan McCabe seems to rise when the lights are the brightest normally, and They seem to be on a mission to try to complete that second state title run, but who knows? I mean, that would be an entertaining field, and I'm very intrigued by the Monona Grove team. I saw them in person last year, and was highly impressed with that big. I gotta have to look up his name, but I think they maybe only have 1 or 2 losses in size. It's gonna be tough to match up against a kid like that, where you're gonna have to probably commit 2, double team him, and leave a shooter open. So it should be interesting to see how this plays out. Rosie, you're raising your hand over there.
Yeah, we have one Facebook question.
Go ahead.
Before I get to that, though, do you think it was probably one of the best things to happen to Kaukauna to lose to North? Because now I
would say no.
Normally, I would say yes, that is the case. Normally, okay, well, we'll take a lump against the top team. Yeah. But when I talked to Kaukauna, when I talked to Coach Shallow, I saw a little bit of concern there because of what happened, because they had fell behind and they didn't. I mean, they rallied a little bit, but they kind of. When they fell behind, I kind of saw for the first time a little bit of panicking, from Kaukauna, and that's not, I guess, what you want to see.
Yeah.
Right a week before everything starts, the postseason. So in that way, no. But ideally, you would think, okay, well, a loss, you can learn from a loss, right? When you always look at the silver lining of a loss. Yeah. But that doesn't take anything away from Kaukauna. I still think they're going to be there. But yes, Shallow is a little bit of concern. Is a little concerned. He even admitted that so much. I'm not speculating here. He told me that. Okay. So that's an interesting. You have a question from Facebook?
I do from Facebook from Vinny Borowski.
Okay.
If it comes to Oshkosh North and Kimberly, would that switch from Marshfield to a closer location?
That's a good thing they brought that up. Why? Because it just happened, the possibility of that happening with Appleton North and Kimberly girls.
Or Spash.
Or Spash.
Or Appleton East. That combo.
The JOBA has already told us that they're going to move that to Oshkosh North, right, Brett? I mean,
it's not... No,
not finalized, but there's talking about.
It's a possibility that that would move from Spash, where we were thinking about going, to a closer venue. I don't think there's any announcement on that yet, so we can't say that. That's a tough question, though.
But it's been talked about, though, and I'm telling you right now, Oshkosh North and Kimberly, they will petition the WIA to have that move. Now, Marshfield, you have been there, I've been there. It is a gigantic field house. It is on the level of Neenah in terms of how big it is. It has a press box inside the field house. Yeah. A football press box inside the field house. So that's how big it is.
The stands are actually kind of far away from
us,
too.
Good 30 feet from
I think if both teams petition the WIA, they will at least explore the idea of moving it. Where, I mean, anywhere you go, it's going to get packed. I don't know. I mean, Neenah would be open, and Neenah is a gigantic stadium. I don't know. You tell me, Brett. What do you think?
Spash.
Well, Spash is another possibility.
Spash, yes.
Or is DC Everest? They got a pretty big field house too. Could they do it up in Schofield? At least keep it a little bit closer. I don't know. I don't know the dynamics and how it works with also schools that host, because I know they get a cut of the action.
Right.
And I would think Marshfield would be like, hey, we're going to fill this place up. But do you want 2 teams from the Valley traveling past Stevens Point? So you're starting to get past the central part, moving towards the western part of the state.
Yeah.
Where the last 2 years, the reason why it was held in Marshfield was because obviously Stevens Point was part of that sectional championship game. But the fact of the matter is that, if it's Appleton North Kimberly, Appleton East Kimberly, Appleton North Spash, Appleton East Spash for the girls' sectional championship, sounds like it's going to be moved here somewhere in the Fox Valley instead of playing it over in Stevens Point.
Right, and that will set precedent. So that's what Oshkosh North and Kimberly will point to. Well, you move the girls' game, down to Oshkosh North. So
I'm just trying to think of gyms around here that are of the size of Marshfield. I can't.
Neenah is the only one that I can.
Yeah, I suppose Neenah because you got the set of bleachers on the one side that go really up high.
You can fit a couple thousand just on that side of the bleachers, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and it has ample room around. Where people can stand if they have to. So
I'd be all right with that. There'd be plenty of room for us to set up and live stream a game.
There you go. It'd be easier for us, I guess, logistically. Yeah. So
that kid from Monona Grove, by the way, Jake Schrakenthaler. I hope I'm saying that.
Man, you did a better job than I did.
That's a tough name, but 6'7". Monona Grove only has 1 loss this year, and Jake is averaging almost 20 points a game.
Okay.
But they have a lot of balanced scorers. Caden Nelson, Sam Hepp, all in double figures. But Monona Grove is 21-1. So, a very talented D2 field coming up. It's going to be fun, though. I can't wait to see how it all plays out.
Let's switch over to the girls, Brett. They're at the sectional level now. We kind of did a preview last week. Now we're kind of updating the girls in the sectional level in terms of Division One. Area teams still involved. We have Appleton North versus Appleton East at Ashwaubenon. This is Thursday, by the way, 7 o'clock. I'll be heading up actually to Ashwaubenon to see that big intra-city rivalry take place. Also in Division One, Kimberly versus Spash. That's at Wapaka, Brett. Interesting venue for that. Mm-hmm. Division Two, Hortonville versus Marshfield at Anago. Seymour versus West Appear at Kaukauna. So that one's right over on the road here, out on what's that, College Avenue over there, the Kaukauna. Division 3. This is where you two will be at. Wrightstown versus Amherst at Menasha. Great game. We'll talk about that more in a second. And then Division 4, Shiocton versus Crandon. That's at Green Bay Southwest. Brett, let's talk about that D3 one first because you guys are going to be there. I thought a great matchup, and it's one that I know you're looking forward to because. It was a rematch, I think, of the sectional final last year.
Correct.
Yeah. And so give me your thoughts there, man. That's a good matchup to two top 3 teams.
Well, yeah, Wrightstown ranked second in Division 3. Amherst ranked third in Division 3, both with a single loss.
By the way, Wrightstown got my first place vote.
And both with, they met in the sectional final last year that Rosie and I were at. We streamed that one up in Green Bay Preble, and it was a pretty good game, as I recall. I don't have the score in front of me, but
it was 60-53.
This would be a good battle. I know Amherst, Heather Pearson, very talented big for the Falcons, and a lot of experience, I believe, coming back from that squad that came within a game of going to state, taking on a Wrightstown team that we thought maybe would take a step back with all the graduation, but Kaylee Van Zeeland and Bridget Frolke.
Ella Denny.
So a lot of talent for Coach Mike Frolke and what the Tigers have done.
We got to give props to Frolke for taking a team that again and mistakenly we thought that they take a step back. No, you could actually say that they took a step forward. So that he's done a great job, and a lot of the young players are really playing big roles for them.
Taylor Guns, averaging 9 rebounds a game. So it's a winning culture there, as it is in Amherst, and I guess now you start to who's gonna pull it out. I'm gonna side with Wrightstown. I think probably a little bit tougher schedule. Playing in the Northeastern Conference versus the CW East, I think it is for Amherst.
Yes,
but
East.
The fact of the matter is that Amherst, as I recall, Rosie, from that game last year, the big from Amherst gave Wrightstown some fits. I think that's Heather Pearson, and it kind of had a double down on her. But they just could not knock down shots. I remember that they just struggled from the outside. Yeah. They had some looks. If they could get some shooters going while you're committing 2 defenders on the big down on the block, then the Amherst might have a chance. We know that Wrightstown pressures, they're a very good defensive team, force turnovers, and a lot of balance offensively. So I think Wrightstown's going to advance to that sectional championship on Saturday.
I know you guys, again, when's that start that you guys going to be going live?
Well, that's at Menasha High School tomorrow, 6:45.
Okay.
We'll go live at 7 o'clock tip. So, Rosie, fingers crossed that the Wi-Fi signal in the gymnasium
It's all about the
will
Wi-Fi.
allow for Facebook access. We went and did a live stream check there yesterday, and let's just call it a semi-successful check. We were having some Facebook issues, but I think those will be resolved.
Yeah,
all I know is I'm going to have my phone charged.
I'm counting on it, Rosie.
I'm going to have my phone charged because I'm going to try to be watching that live stream, Brett, as I cover North and East. We'll get to Division 1, Division 2 in a little bit. Division 4, I want to quickly talk about Shiocton versus Crandon, Green Bay Southwest. Tina Ewell having a fantastic year. I want to say she should be in contention for that conference as a player of the year. But Shiocton basically 2 wins away from reaching the state semifinals again. So kudos to Coach Hendrickson over there. That I picked Shiocton to actually make the state semifinals for Division 4 last week. And Rosie, you said you have something from online?
I know what you're seeing because I'm seeing it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Tammy Plate says that Nina seats 3,600, Marshfield 3,500, and Spash 2,500.
So
there you go. That's the end of discussion right there. Should be in Nina. It should have been in Nina anyway, to tell you the truth, instead of having it over in Marshfield. But
that's hard to. It just seems strange to think that Nina actually seats more than Marshfield because Marshfield
is
just
cavernous.
Enormous. But I guess when you look at that field house and that seating section on one side, you can fill the bleachers on underneath the baskets. Right. They'll wheel those out on both sides, and then pretty decent seating section behind the benches too. So yeah,
I love Nina.
I do too.
We're there all the time. Ron Einerson Fieldhouse. If that happens, I have no doubts that that's what's going to happen. You got to move it to Nina.
Yeah.
It's right in between, Oshkosh North.
Yeah.
Does that not make sense, Brett?
Yeah, it makes complete sense when you see the attendance totals. So,
it makes perfect sense.
Save us a trip to Marshfield. We might
exactly.
Although, Kaukauna Cedarburg would be very interesting. Very interesting to go to Manitowoc, which apparently has a press box in its field house as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I've never been in the Manitowoc gym.
Wow, see all the fun things we can think of now.
Coin flip, I think.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, thank you, Tammy, for helping out with that. Okay, so we talked about D3, talked about D4. Let's go to D2 before we wrap it up with D1 in terms of the girls' side. D2, Hortonville versus Marshfield at Anago. Now, I have said this from the start, and I love Hortonville, my Polar Bears. They're actually there, by the way, at Appleton North. Chippewa Falls, Brett. I saw Shea Frederick and some of the girls there in McGlone. They were there watching that game, giving support to their buddies at Appleton North. And that sectional, not as strong as the other 3 sectionals. So Hortonville, in my opinion, is the class of that sectional. They're gonna beat Marshfield. By the way, Marshfield I think is 12-12. Yikes. I mean, and they're at the sectional semifinal level. So Hortonville should, in my opinion, pop on through to the final or to the semifinals anyway. And for Seymour versus West De Pere, now here we go. We've covered West De Pere in the past.
We just covered Seymour. We streamed
the
Saturday Night Real.
So Brett, you give me your thoughts because I actually haven't seen Seymour this year in terms of a full game. So.
Yeah, I think very impressed with Seymour. But Green Bay Southwest, watch out for these guys. They got a lot of young players, and it was Jaden Johnson, I think. Am I saying that right? The superstar player who's got already Marquette, Wisconsin, a lot of D1 programs looking at her. Fast as can be, excellent point guard, and really pressured Seymour quite a bit. I thought Seymour, there was some sloppiness there, but they had a lot of good looks. Actually, a lot of very strong on the baseline drives, and just couldn't convert on some of those. But Buchholz underneath, she played a big game. Actually, pretty versatile on both ends of the court, and stepped out and knocked down some shots from distance.
They need that.
Of course, Haley Oski was doing her stuff. Kind of had a little bit of a tough night. She looked a little frustrated. Shots just weren't falling, but she had good looks. Jenna Krause obviously was all over the place.
Okay.
So a lot of versatility, and you liked what Bobby Kukta there, the coach at Seymour, has got going this season. Certainly all in for a trip to the Resch Center. However, we all know it's the monster on the other side that potentially awaits in the sectional.
Right, and we already know. And I'm sorry, Brett, not to cut you off there, my friend, but we see what happened there. Now you see Beaver Dam versus Vincent.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. That is the game to watch from around the state if you're paying attention to Division II girls. I picked Vincent to upset Beaver Dam, so we'll see if that happens. Because if that's the case, I think Seymour can beat Milwaukee Vincent. I don't know if Seymour can beat Beaver Dam, though, Brett. So that'll be interesting to watch. Either way, I think Seymour makes it to the sectional final. It's going to be a great game for them against West De Pere. I like West De Pere. I just don't think they're at the level of Seymour right now. Obviously, the Thunder, with so many great players, one loss on the year, too, I want to say.
Ranked second,
Ranked second.
They do have a real nice deep team as well.
Yeah, they do.
I think there's,
Seymour's only loss, by the way, came to Kimberly.
Yes, they play a tough schedule. We talked about that on the live stream. So they're battle tested, no doubt, and of course with Haley Oski being a GB recruit, and Jenna Krause going to McKendree, I believe.
Oh yes,
Oski was solid. She, like you said, the shots just weren't dropping.
She had good, great looks.
There was you could not guard her on the baseline. No. She would take that ball out from the wing and just drive baseline. That's where the shots weren't falling. But if the shot wasn't there, she just pitched out to somebody and they'd pop a three. And it was,
okay.
I mean, her speed when she goes down the baseline is unbelievable.
Very quick step to attack that baseline, and again, a lot of good looks and some kickouts too from there. But Buchholz was the one I was really impressed with. Again, the big, but stepping out and knocking down that three. And, a lot of rebounding going on.
Well, they're going to need her.
Control the glass, so yeah.
They're going to need her if it is a Beaver Dam matchup, because Beaver Dam's got some girls. Let me tell you that right now. They got some players. There's some who think that maybe Beaver Dam's the best team in the state, regardless of division.
Well, Raven Van den Langenberg, she was all over the glass.
Yes.
I called her the glue of that team. Just one of those, just did the dirty stuff, hustle plays, that sort of thing, grabbing loose balls,
free throws,
and longest last name in our area.
I think that's longer than Christofferson. So. Christofferson's 14 letters. I should count that. But, that beats Christofferson by a mile.
Let's switch over to Division I. I'm going to get to Kimberly Espash right now. That's over at Wapaka. Kimberly, we have said this from the beginning. We expect them to be at that sectional final. Spash is a good team. However, I question the strength of the conference that they play in this year. The Valley, it's not very good.
Wisconsin Valley.
Wisconsin Valley. And it's Spash, it's congratulations. It's been a great year. But Kimberly is tough.
Defensively.
And Kimberly's only losses this year have come to Appleton North. And I just don't think Spash is anywhere near on the level of Appleton North. in my opinion. So that's my prediction for the game. Obviously, Kimberly should win over Spash.
I agree with that 100%. Wisconsin Valley not anywhere near overall level of what we see in the FVA. And then Troy Cullen, and he's been there a long time, and we know that he hangs his hat on tough man-to-man defense, help defense, kind of pack line system like we see with Tony Bennett in Virginia, and a lot of programs emulating the fact that you just can't get into the paint. They just pack the paint and try to funnel the ball into the paint, so that's where all the bodies are, and you can knock it away. Play gap defense, help defense so well, and it's just tough, and they contest. They close out on shooters, and there just aren't a whole lot of good shot opportunities when you go against a team like Kimberly that will slow it down a little bit. But, again, Alina Hampton having a nice season, 12.2 points per game, and don't forget about Maddie Schreiber, the freshman, who's going to be a force to be reckoned with over the next 3 seasons, along with a number of young talent coming through the FEA and the girls' side right now.
Right, and Kimberly also on defense, you were talking about that, sets the tempo with Lauren Smith, probably one of the best defensive players in the state. Shut down Shea Frederick from Hortonville a couple of times, and she's kind of looked on as a kind of I guess you got the spark plug of that defense. And then we wrap up Appleton North versus Appleton East. This is a game I'm going to be at Ashwaubenon. I saw Appleton North. Brett, they look really good against Chippewa Falls, but even in looking good, Joe Russum was not happy. He thought they could be even better, and Brett, they were really good against Chippewa Falls, but that's Joe.
I read that, and I was like, come on, Joe, you won by like 40 points. Don't give me the coach speak. I'm sure it was just fine. I know he's trying to motivate his kids, but, enjoy the win for heaven's sakes. I mean, not everything's got to be so serious. You crushed Chippewa Falls, and you got a big game going against the Appleton East team that beat them.
Right, and
the last time they played, so obviously there's going to be that can be interesting because East is no joke. They're a good team.
No, the East they took out DC Everest again, part of that Wisconsin Valley Conference. That wasn't even really close. So Appleton East 18-6, the most dangerous team in D1. If Appleton East was in any other sectional other than the one that has them against North, you could make a claim they should make it to state. That's how good Appleton East is. So they did beat North. When I talked to Kari Brecky, I talked to Sydney Levy, I talked to Russum. They're going to be ready. I sense a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Remember, when that happened, when East beat North, that shocked everybody, and that was their first loss in state in almost 2 years. So they're going to be ready, East Patriots. So just be sure to up your game there because I'm expecting North to come out and kind of leave no doubt. And I will add to this, Appleton North obviously wasn't happy because East will have a day or two more of rest to prepare for the game. I don't know if you saw Russum's comments, but I thought he had a pretty good point there in terms of his team. The last couple years has unfortunately been on the short end of some of those scheduling quirks, and I know it's because they play teams from the West, and there's travel issues and weather and all that kind of stuff, but they're not the not just basketball and football. We've seen that Appleton North somehow has gotten the short end of the stick several times, Brett.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. If there is something to be said about that, or if it's just complete coincidence. But I'm not going to touch that topic. Okay?
Yeah, Joe had some very pointed comments about his disdain for the way that was handled because they had, and this, your son, they had the ACT test. Your son's a sophomore though.
No, junior. Yeah, they had him yesterday.
Yes.
All over the state.
And he was talking about how his girls. So they not only do they have less time to prepare for East, which is a quality team, they beat North. Now his girls have less time because they had to study for the ACT, and they have a lot of good juniors on that team.
But what? Student athlete, right? Student comes
right
first. Let's just keep this in perspective, everybody.
Okay.
I don't see any future WNBA players out there, so get that ACT score up and worry about that, and whatever happens on the court happens. I'm the voice of reason.
Okay,
Ricardo.
all right. I get kind of worked up a little bit.
Wise, just the old dude.
Well, let's just call you old.
I'm like Jedi. I'm like
let's just call you old.
Master.
There you go, Yoda.
Hey, can I give a shout out to our colleagues down in Milwaukee? J.R. Radcliffe actually specifically has a real cool story. He worked with Spectrum Sports, J.P. Cadorn on this. Go on jsonline.com and you can find it, or you can find J.R. Radcliffe on Twitter, and he tweeted it out. But what if the WIA boys tournament was just one division? They come out with an imaginary 32-team bracket, and 3 of the top 4 seeds that they have, Apple and Xavier, number 1, Oshkosh North, number 1, and Kaukauna, number 1, in 3 of the different 4 sections there. So 3 schools here.
Who was the 4th one? Do you have that one?
Sun Prairie.
Okay. I can't really argue with that because 3 of our area teams are the top teams. But who does he have winning it, or did he just have a bracket?
They just kind of had it set up. They didn't really go through.
Interesting.
But they do have a podcast where they talk about, or a podcast linked where they kind of talk about. Pretty cool idea, and definitely worth a look. If It'll never happen.
Yeah.
And as we went through Reedsville on Monday,
yeah.
going to Sheboygan, we'll do it again.
Yep.
You see on the Reedsville sign,
Yeah,
the home of the
they're all-
1946 state champions that I did a story on in 06, celebrating the 60th anniversary of Tiny Reedsville in the one division, beating all the Goliaths out there to win the state title.
Now, if they would have done that,
now. Hard to
we
believe.
could have maybe had
72.
the Spash-Kakana game a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
When
I
both
did
the
mention that at
Hausers were-
D2D1, right?
Xavier Kakana this season, but kind of a neat idea, an imaginary look at what could be with one division and ranking all the teams.
Right, and that's a very why am I blanking out? What's the film? Hoosiers.
Hoosiers, yeah.
Yeah, with Indiana had that actually for a while. They still had the all teams in one division for a while. I mean, that was only recently where they kind of broke it up into different divisions.
Keep in mind though, Reedsville happened before the team in Indiana in which the movie is depicted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Reedsville.
Right.
I think that was 1952 or 53, and Reedsville was 46.
Interesting
And again,
stuff.
I went over to Reedsville in 06 and caught up with a lot of those guys. Unfortunately, a good number of them have since passed in the 12 years, but very proud of that in their community.
Yeah.
That's kind of a neat historical thing that they take great pride in over in Reedsville. 1946 state champs. We'll see it again, Rosie, when we go through there.
Do you think we'll ever see this happen?
No.
Do the 32?
They like
No.
many champions.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's
In
going to
fact,
happen.
I think the WIA will probably at some point go to a 10 division basketball tournament,
Okay.
at least a 14 division football tournament.
There you go. Okay.
Playoff and all that stuff.
Brett-
Because you can't have enough state champs out there.
Brett, I know you're a big Hoosiers fan. What's the name of the school that won it?
Milan in real life.
Oh, but
Hickory in the movie.
Hickory in the okay.
Yeah, Jimmy
All right.
Chitwood.
Jimmy Chitwood,
Remember
yeah.
his
Number
famous
15.
line, "I'll make it." Remember they're going to use him as a decoy to
Yep.
try to win the state title game. And
Good
he
movie.
Looked at Coach Norman Dale and said, "I'll make it."
I haven't seen it in
he
a
made
while, but I do remember the iconic scene where they go into the gym and he measures or I forgot what exactly was said, but that actually
Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Yeah, he did stick with me. That did stick with me about the measurements being the same and everything.
And then he yells Hickory, and it kind of echoes. I gotta watch that again. It's been
Yeah.
a while.
Very
I
good
just
movie.
watched that
Gene Hackman.
about a month ago.
You know what I need? I need to watch Hoosiers, and I need to have a big old Shamrock Shake, and just say
There you go.
that's March Madness
Yep.
to me. That's
Yep.
March Madness to me. Basketball and Shamrock.
You
Shake.
love those things. They're disgusting.
Do that before
Along
our
with
final
Bill's
live
pizza
stream.
and that beef I had the other day
Yeah.
too, boys. I missed you guys in Stevens
Oh,
Point.
Yeah, you did.
I missed it too.
Yeah, you did.
So.
Well, that's it. That wraps up our 25th episode of the R&B podcast. Thank you so much for joining. We'll check us out again. By the way, no roundtable tonight because these guys are busy. They're heading over. What are you guys doing tonight, Brett?
We're
Real
going to
quick.
be in Manitowoc, switching gears to the news side, and actually a very serious topic,
Yeah.
but it's part of the Kids in Crisis Town
Right.
Hall series, and we were in Sheboygan on Monday. The tour kicked off, and now we're in Manitowoc tonight, but very proud to be part of it. Me, albeit in a very small way, but just helping with live stream setup and production, but it's Kids in Crisis is in its third year, and it's really explores and raises awareness, I guess, for teen suicide and tries to come up with solutions. And I know there's been legislation that has come from this series. And,
Great.
And
Outstanding.
keeping it going. We had a great crowd that showed up at Sheboygan at the library on Monday, and we're going to be at the Manitowoc Library tonight with another town hall again. There's going to be more of a storytelling element to it. I thought it was really good on Monday. Rosie, I know you were
Yeah.
there too.
Yes.
A lot of good stuff, a lot of good information, a lot of good questions
Yeah.
came out of it. Some things that these kids nowadays face and the pressures they face, social media and going through all that stuff. So very serious, but it's great to be part of something that is making a difference. You can watch it. Actually, we'll stream the town hall. We're going to be at all 10 of our USA Today Network Wisconsin sites, along with we're going to do 2 streams, right, Rosie, in Milwaukee?
Yes.
And then one, a call to action.
Yep,
again in
call to
Madison.
action.
So
Wow.
13
In Madison.
streams coming up.
Yep.
All over the state.
Amazing.
And, but we're going to be on Facebook Live tonight at 6 o'clock in Manitowoc, so check it out.
Well, best of luck to their guys, and hopefully everything goes off without a hitch. And again, one more shout out to these guys because they're going to be again on Friday, right? Thursday doing Wrightstown.
Thursday, and then I might as well Saturday. We're going to do a double dip. We're going to do a girls sectional final that afternoon. We don't know where yet exactly, and then a boys regional final at night. We don't quite know where. It all depends on pairings and how it all plays out. We have some ideas in mind, but until we actually see the 2 names on the brackets of black and white and official, we can't make any announcements. But
Absolutely.
we're feeling pretty good about a couple of the games we have coming up. So Rosie and I are going to be pretty busy on
Yes,
Saturday.
we will be.
And hopefully you can make it on Saturday.
I will try. If that happens where Kakana's not competing for that state championships on Saturday, I will be there alongside with you guys. So great Great stuff, guys. Thanks for a great time here. We'll see you back here again next Wednesday, hopefully at noon for the 26th episode of the R&B Show. Brett, go ahead. Start throwing them.
Tell me when I can do it.
Wait, one more thing. One more thing.
Music.
One more thing. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. That's where you can find the R&B Show podcast downloaded to your phone. Follow us every Thursday. We should have a new episode updated or uploaded.
Okay. Are we ready to
Yes,
do this?
do it.
Yeah,
Tell me
music's
when.
been playing for a while. You
Here
go
we go
for it.
I'm usually dead eye. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
look at that.
Oh, I just broke the camera.
Yeah, easy.
Right on.
Dude, those are your two best.
Red hot right now.
The best ever. Jimmy Chitwood.